My next guest is known for his hard-hitting documentaries from war zones to life inside UK prisons. Tonight, Ross Kemp is back, facing a new challenge, deep underwater. Ross joins me now. That looks very scary. Very scary. Is that... I mean, I hesitate to say to you, is that the scariest thing you've ever done? Because, I mean, there are so many. It's got to be one of them, right?
Do you know what? It looks scary,
Yeah.
and there is a potential for things to go wrong, particularly when you're diving, and very much aware that, sadly, people lose their lives diving every year. But the training is so precise, which it has to be. The rig that I'm using there is kind of far more of a commercial rig rather than your kind of recreational rig. So it's a very different setup. So you have a switching block, which is like a wire, and then you have to push it across. You want to see me in my sleep sometimes before I was going diving. In my sleep, I'm going...
So what is all that about? How does that work? And look at you there, James Bond.
That's Sky history. That's very, very kind of... I think that's been slightly touched up, Lorraine, I think.
I like it.
My hair's fantastic in that one, though, isn't it?
Your head always looks good. That's one thing.
Look, it's a really great way of investigating history.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it is.
I love going to museums. I like going to castles, taking the kids out at the weekend. But when you dive on a wreck, you are really, really there. It's like the moment that it left the surface and it landed on the bottom, it's sort of been kept in the stage that it was. And you can't help thinking about the people that lived on them, the people that sadly fought and possibly died on them. And I just enjoyed it from beginning to end. And it's a great way of looking at some of the uncomfortable parts of our history as well. We discovered a slaver ship in Portsmouth Sound. And, you know, I think it's something that we shouldn't shy away from.
Definitely not.
And also, just to find the piece of a ship like the Amethyst, which is the most famous Napoleonic battleship in the Royal Navy, and to find a piece of it it's like shaking hands with a ghost.
Yeah.
It's romantic, it's got an element of risk to it, but it's a great way of telling history.
No, it really is, and people can get really pulled into it. I mean, quite recently they found the Endurance.
That's right.
They found Shackleton's ship.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm obsessed with all of that.
A little bit too deep to dive on.
I was just going to say, sadly, that's not going to happen.
But because of where it is, there's hardly any salt in the water, and there's no worms. Most of the wrecks that are wood generally are riddled with these sea worms. So that's why it's in such perfect condition.
And why did you want to do this? Because it's a little bit... I mean, we don't know enough about the oceans. We don't know enough about shipwrecks and all of that. We probably know more about the moon than we do about that. Because it's like a little bit like being an astronaut, I guess.
There are similarities. I can't say that I'm an astronaut, sadly, but I am a health and safety
That'll be the next thing.
I'm an HSC diver, which I'm very proud of. 5 written-hour exam at the end of it, which, I thought, well, I'm never going to pass this, but I managed to scrape through.
God, good for you.
What I found out was there's also a little bit of who do you think you are in this, because I knew from my mum, who's actually in the show, she makes a brief appearance, that my great-grandfather, who I met when I was very small, was shipwrecked twice in the Second World War. Is Pop. Pop, because he had a pipe, Popeye the Sailor Man. And he went to sea at a very, very young age and retired when he was in his late 70s.
Right.
But he was also shipwrecked in the First World War. And his 2 nephews, who were my nan's best friends, they sadly went down on a battleship called HMS Hood, which was blown up by the Bismarck during the Second World War. So I suddenly find out that my family, they're the 2 boys there, my family were nearly all in the Royal Navy on my mum's side, and that my great-grandfather came over from Ireland, set up a barge company, then bought a pub called the Ship and the Castle, which still exists at the ferry terminal in Portsmouth, promptly had 15 children, and all the boys joined the Navy.
That's amazing, isn't it? And that gives you that connection as well, that really emotional connection with that. Do you think you'll continue diving? I mean, that's very specialised, isn't it?
It took 2.5 months to do the training, so I hope so.
That's what I was going to say. You don't want to have done that 5-hour exam and done all of this.
At one point, Lorraine, I am kneeling on a container at 20 metres in a large pond outside of Heathrow, and I'm calling down for bits of scaffolding to put the clips together to build a box scaffolding. Don't ask me why, but that's what I was told to do. I'm untying bowlines, and suddenly I thought, where's makeup? Where's the bacon sandwich?
Where are my people?
Where's the coffee? But you know what? It's a great thing to be able to do, because if things do go wrong, which they will do in wrecks, if you can concentrate on the job in hand, then you're not worrying about all the kit.
You don't panic.
If you don't exactly, because the more you panic, the more air you burn up.
There's a few hairy moments, wasn't there? There's a few quite...
Well, it's in the nature of what it is, and that's why the training is so precise. You know,
Yeah.
and I was brilliant. I had a great dive supervisor and trainer in Neil Brock at Bristol Channel Divers, who he is the best in the business. He'll love me saying that as well. He's also one of the funniest, toughest blokes I've ever met. And that's also part of it. You know, it's not only telling history, it's not only a little bit of who do you think you are.
Yeah.
There are a lot of laughs in it because it is potentially risky. So a good way of, you know, when I was out in Afghan, never laughed so hard after a firefight. And there is, you know, there's an element of risk to it. And often the release afterwards is to have a good old joke with each other.
Exactly. You're right. That's what gets you through. You're so right. Now, as if all this wasn't enough, we're also going to see you this week. Brilliant idea, this. I'd never thought about it. Michael Jackson's Neverland. Obviously, there was a zoo there. What happened to them all?
Exactly.
What happened to those animals, exotic animals? I mean, that was very much a huge part of his life.
Absolutely.
So you've investigated that? Because you couldn't get in two more different things
Yeah,
to do.
on in the same week. I didn't plan it that way, but there you go. That's the way schedulers work, and I'm going to go with it. So, yeah, it's basically an investigation into what happened to the animals after Neverland closed. And, you know, he was a mega star, and, you know, I was a fan of his music, still am. But the animals played a big part in his life, and we wanted to find out because there's never been a spotlight put on what happened to those animals.
No.
And so it's just we go on a road trip across America trying to find them.
How interesting. It always makes me think of, you know the, was it Escobar in Colombia?
Yes.
And he had a zoo, and he had all these hippos.
Correct.
And they've gone into the wild now.
They have.
There's about 70 of the things.
And you're
in
talking about my next documentary before I even thought I was making it.
I was just going to say, you could go and find out about these hippos.
They've got out of control, yeah.
They're
apparently.
totally out of control, and they are so dangerous.
They are. They kill more people in Africa than snakes.
They do, and I think, well...
that's what I was told.
No, I think you're right. I think the only thing that's more dangerous is probably mosquitoes. But you... it's got you written all over that, because you can do all the investigation.
Pablo's hippos, here I come.
Yeah, you have to do the hippos.
But the Jackson film, honestly, is a really good road trip. I mean, I find as you can see, that's giving it up. There you go. Guess what? I find the elephant in Oregon.
You?
And do you know what the funny thing about it, Lorraine? They were chewing poison oak. They can eat poison oak. But when you're that close to them, they start spitting it out, and it's like being hit by stinging nettles.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
How many people in the world has that happened to, Ross Kemp? Not many.
Being spat on by elephants chewing poison oak, I think I'm up there in the top 10, I guess.
I don't think there's that
But in
many
Oregon,
people.
of all places, as well. I mean, it's Oregon.
That is very bizarre. But
28 hotel rooms, all 2-star and below, in 33 days.
Oh, did you stay in those weird places in America that they make funny movies about?
Motels, yeah.
And
sticky carpet, sticky brown pillows.
You don't even want to think.
No, you don't drink the water out of the tap either. Not unless you've boiled it.
Ross, thank you so much for coming in. We're going to see Shipwreck, Treasure Hunter. It's on tonight, isn't it?
Yeah,
9 o'clock, Sky History, cracking channel. And Searching for Michael Jackson's Zoo.
9 o'clock, Wednesday, ITV.
He knows everything. Thank you.
Thank
Great to see you. Thank you.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.